The remains of two women have been found in a shallow grave in Umgababa on the KZN south coast. Senior reporter Dasen Thathiah is there. Dasen, we know very little at this stage about the circumstances. We're hoping to find out a little bit more from you about what the police have established so far.
Andy, well, we got this information this afternoon about that gruesome discovery here in Umgababa, so we did come out to the scene. While the scene has already been processed, I can tell you from the information that we've gathered already that the two women were believed to have been employed at this creche that I'm standing next to now, and they went missing on the 9th of August, so that's just over a week ago. And there was no sign of them. There was obviously then search efforts that took place. And despite all of those efforts, they were not located until today when a police team had come out. And I'm taking you down to where that discovery was made. These women, from what we understand, quite elderly, one in their 60s, the other in her 80s, I'm led to believe. And I'm just taking you down this path now where there are still some of these police officers that are gathered. This is where the bodies of those women were found in a shallow grave. You'll actually be able to see how close it is to the creche. And this is where that discovery was made. You can actually still get a very strong smell in the air as well. Certainly a tragic incident that's taken place in this small community. I want to bring in now Colonel Robert Nechiunda with the SAPS. Colonel, the details that we have so far are fairly sketchy regarding the disappearance of these women. So maybe let's start there, just talking about how they went missing before we get to the discovery that was made.
We were meant to believe that on the 9th of August, these two elderly women were seen boarding a vehicle which looked like an e-hailing vehicle with GP plates. That turns out to be a false story because what we've gathered so far suggests that the women never boarded any vehicle, and they were murdered probably inside the creche and then buried in this shallow grave.
Now that raises a lot of questions. So that version of events, for example, of how they had disappeared, was that coming from people that were interviewed at the time, colleagues, employees? Because if that story would have had to have come from someone that would have allegedly seen them leaving.
We do not want to be talking as to who had given us that false information. But what we can say is that there's a person of interest whom we have taken in for questioning. And so far, there's a bit of link that will lead to his arrest. Hoping and believing that more information will come out as we investigate, because even though we had that false story before, as the police, it did not add water. That's why we went deeper investigating. And after following threads of leads, we managed to locate the bodies here and took the person in for questioning.
At the time that they went missing, was this general area around here, I'm just looking at how close this is, the proximity, was this one of the areas that was searched immediately after the disappearance?
When you have been told that they were seen getting into a vehicle, you first try and track the vehicle. So you direct your energies there. But at the same time, and that team trying to search in the vicinity. But you could not have sniffed that there could be something happening here. And we would not believe that this shallow grave was dug on the very day that the women went missing. Safe to say that we are here because it's cleared, but not normally it's not an open area. It's a bit bushy here. But now because something had happened here. Also, our officers were suspicious that no, this looks like a place where it was debushed recently.
Do we know at this point what could be a possible motive for killing these women? I believe they're quite elderly, in their 60s and 80s.
At this stage, you don't want to speculate, but safe to say, our investigators already have got certain leads that they are following up. So we'll allow that to continue. Then when we are certain and of something concrete, then we can communicate.
Okay, and just lastly, just to confirm then, you said that there is one person that is being questioned. Are there other suspects that are also being sought?
Looking at the crime scene, this shallow grave, both women were tied with a rope. We'll believe that maybe the suspect was not acting alone. There could be someone. Yes, we are still investigating, and we'll get to the bottom of the matter. If there was somebody who was involved, other than the one we have in custody, they'll be arrested.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much for your time there, Colonel Robert Nechiunda, just going over some of those details with us. At this point, then, one person that is in custody, but a possibility that others could have also been involved in for example, putting the women into this grave. We understand that they were also covered, their faces were covered when they were placed in this shallow grave, and that's where they were discovered by police officers during a search that was conducted today.
Thank you so much. Gruesome update from Umgababa in KZN. That was our reporter, senior reporter Dasen Thathiah.